Senator Hawley, a Republican from Missouri, is planning to introduce a bill to ban loot boxes and pay-to-win microtransactions from games. This is going to be called the Protecting Children from Abusive Games Act. And this would target the exploitation of children through pay-to-win and loot box monetization practices by the video game industry. So I have a quote here from Senator Hawley. When a game is designed for kids, game developers shouldn't be allowed to monetize addiction. And when kids play games designed for adults, they should be walled off from compulsive microtransactions. Game developers who knowingly exploit children should face legal consequences. And then I also have a quote in a response statement from the ESA, the Entertainment Software Association. So they said, numerous countries, including Ireland, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK, determined that loot boxes do not constitute gambling. We look forward to sharing with the Senator the tools and information the industry already provides that keeps the control of in-game spending in the parents' hands. Parents already have the ability to limit or prohibit in-game purchases with easy-to-use parental controls. It's worth noting, I think, that the Netherlands and Belgium have ruled that loot boxes do constitute illegal games of chance, and also that efforts in Washington State, Hawaii, and Indiana to rein in loot boxes have yet to make any real progress. So obviously this bill isn't even written yet. This is just like a proposal. I think that he just mentioned that he was going to be doing this, so it has a very, very long way to actually becoming law. But how do you guys feel about the proposal? Do you feel that loot boxes are in fact gambling, and if you do you feel that they're predatory, towards children?
They're definitely predatory towards children. I know for a fact that like the when it was first introduced, like in EA's hands with the specifically like the sports franchises, FIFA I think was huge on it, and Madden and NHL to like a lesser degree with the ultimate teams, and people pouring just insane amounts of money into virtual card packs online where you're essentially just getting random stuff, varying levels that you could pay money into, just insane amounts of money that they're making off of kids for stuff like that. I think it's irresponsible. I hate that it's a thing. I I hope that they just do away with it. That's that response statement from the ESA.
Yeah.
Oh man, is that shitty. That's like the last thing I want to hear. Like they're gonna be like, well, parents need to be more responsible and things like that. Gambling is addictive. I mean, that's proven. Like you start like getting kids hooked on that early, and if parents of these kids are already hooked on that kind of thing from these kind of practices, it's pretty dangerous.
Yeah. I'm in agreement for the most part. I think that, I think you should always put um, some emphasis on the parents, of course. But it's kind of hard nowadays, considering every device you can have these games, which have these these fucking crazy practices. I don't like it. I think in general, all of us have agreed that we don't like the new model. I hope that we get away from it.
You
The
mean
fact
you mean the freemium?
yeah,
Yeah.
loot boxes,
Yeah.
pay to win, just in-game buying shit, I guess like the in-game buying shit is I don't like it, but I can see how they can say they'll leave it. The loot boxes in my opinion have to go. Like you said, it's a part of it's similar to gambling. And these the thing that we have to come back to is they're kids, and they don't realize that before there was the gaming industry was a way which you bought something, you paid for it right off the bat, and then you had it, and it was your and there's no gambling about it. There's no giving money to increase the quality of the game or anything like that. Like they don't realize that. Like the only way that they see it is through the eyes of the new model, which is you have to pay for everything in the game, and you have to pay for
Right.
um, these in-game microtransaction mechanics that you pay for it, and then you have a chance to get something. It's like fuck no, like it's wrong, and they need to do away with it. And children are always susceptible to these things. That we just have to accept that, and we have to, as a society and as companies that are making money, like, you have to accept that and try to make it better, so you're not exploiting these young minds, and literally changing how they're going to see things in different parts of their life. Like Wolf said, I mean, it's crazy to think about this, but I would guarantee if a kid was playing from a young age a game with loot boxes, continue to play throughout his childhood and into adult life, he would be more susceptible to gambling. I would guarantee it.
Probably. And
Bad habits of
you know,
gambling.
I'm
I'm
Go ahead,
chomping at the bit over here with a
No,
counterpoint.
Go.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah, get after it.
So for like me, I like preying on kids. I get that to some extent, but like it's not like kids have a fucking checking account with like millions of dollars in it, or like have a credit card. Like the parents are paying for it, and like as a parent, you have the responsibility to like watch what your kid does and like be a parent. So like I don't know. It's not.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
why.
it's-
That's why I prefaced it with
Yeah,
that.
it's just like,
we
it's just
always
like-
have to put emphasis on the parents.
For me, it's like everything is like, oh, it's it's like it's not the person who's consuming its fault. It's the person who's making it. It's like, then don't fucking consume it, or like, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, you're capable of not doing it. Don't do it. Like you're a parent. You can watch what your kid does and like teach them that. Like you know what I mean? Like you have to understand that. Yeah, sure, you can buy one of these every once in a while, but you can't just fucking spend all your money and you know what I mean? Like I think I'm not saying like loot boxes are good or whatever. And for me personally, okay, so loot boxes that offer like skins and like cosmetic things that don't actually affect gameplay, I'm okay with that. That doesn't really bother me. But things that like you have to buy, like pay, like you actually need to pay to win, that I have a problem with.
Yeah. Well, I think everything you're saying makes a lot of sense. I think that's a pretty defensible position to come from. I really don't like loot boxes. I mean, I think I mentioned this on another podcast, but in Heroes of the Storm, they have loot boxes, and it's like the only way to get the skin or the mount that you want. There wasn't like a great way to actually buy or purchase a single item unless you had enough of these, this type of currency saved up, which you really could only get from loot boxes anyway. And like stuff like that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And just another point, when I was really thinking about this after I typed this up, it seems to me that video games are addictive enough already for kids and just everybody in general, just because like they're way more fun than anything in real life. When you throw in, like, even if it is just a small aspect of gambling or like that feeling of winning something when you have a small chance of getting it, I think it just really adds fuel to the fire.
Definitely. I agree with what Dave was saying too. I'm all for like responsible parenting, and obviously you need to keep track on what your kids are doing, but with your wallet, that kind of thing. But I'm kind of falling more into the camp now with, we obviously understand what's going on. Maybe we'll, have a better mechanisms of like combating, loot boxes, when our kids are like, hey, I want to buy this virtual currency on this game. I'm gonna be like, no, you're not buying virtual currency. It's stupid. But like our parents and, people a little younger than them probably really don't have any idea what they're actually spending their money on. It's just really hard for them to like comprehend, wrap their heads around it, unless you're actually there doing it, partaking in it. And even though it's not the kids' money, they're still benefit. I don't want to say benefiting, but experiencing that euphoric feeling from gambling that you do get when winning things, stuff like that. The randomness of the loot box, I just don't. It doesn't need to be there. Like what Ben was saying.
I get that point for a kid, but like for me, like if I open a loot box and I don't get like the rush of gambling or like It's not
Right.
like when I open a
you've
loot box,
gambled
it's
in
not
real
bad.
life.
Real money.
Because we
Like,
gamble
I don't know,
pretty
when I
heavy
open-
normally, yeah.
When I open my loot box, I'm not like, oh my god, no, this is I gotta buy more.
Yeah, I'm
Could you
telling
imagine
you,
when
I'm
you were a
telling you,
kid,
a young
though?
mind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
to
no,
really
that
liking
would've been-
that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, yeah, a younger mind.
chasing that.
Pokemon loot boxes. Could you imagine if you could have bought like a loot box in Pokemon Blue or Red? You got like a random Pokemon.
Yeah, I
Holy
probably would have stole my
dude.
parents' credit card, bro. and-
Oh yeah, you
Sign me up.
Yeah, why couldn't they, even if they wanted to do a loot box thing, why couldn't 4 prizes pop out? Rare, common, whatever, and then you could pick which one that you wanted. I mean, why does it have to be random?
Yeah, or I think a big thing is too, like they just need to like tell you the odds of getting things. So if you open a loot box, you have like a 1 in 10 chance of getting this rarity of item, and you have
Right.
a 1 in 5 chance. You know what I mean? They have to at least give you some,
More transparency.
give you a little bit of idea, like how good of a chance do I have, or like kind of like how they did it in Hearthstone or whatever. Like after, you know what I mean, in the first like 10 packs you open for a new expansion or whatever, you would get a legendary no matter what.
Yeah.
Like things like that, where you're like, or like if you open 10 of them, you're gonna get a legendary. Like set parameters where at least you know at some point you are going to get something.
It's really the least they could fucking do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
right.
the least. That's exactly. It's the least they could do. I think it should be gone. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like this is entertainment for us. If you want to, when you buy something, like you get a product. Like I'm tired of this shit. Like
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's what it is what it comes down to, and it's very simple. Is there's no benefits through these new models, loot boxes, pay to win, microtransactions. Well, that's pretty much mobile games. But there is some other PC games and stuff. But these new models, like there's no benefit really overall. Like you don't get a better story. You don't like. What the hell are you getting out of this shit? Like it makes no sense to me. It's just it's kind of it's a little bit devious, sinister in my mind, because they're just trying to figure out ways to make more money and take advantage of the
Oh
consumer.
yeah, that's 100% what it is. Like they do it because they make more money doing it, and people pay for it, so they're gonna keep doing it because they're making
Yeah.
more money. That's
Yeah.
literally the only motivation for it is money. There's no other motivation.
Yeah, so that's my whole thing is like, let's when you're talking about these complicated things that they're like trying to pass laws for, you have to go to the origin point, and you have to go to like motivate. You have to like check the motivations of people, right? And they don't care. And like getting off the kid shit, like that's one aspect of it. They don't care about the consumers in general when they do these kind of things.
Yeah.
So that's my big thing.
But like if people are gonna pay for it though, like nobody's forcing you to pay for it. That's like the
Right.
counter argument. That just like anything in life, nobody's forcing you to do it. You're doing it on your own free will.
I gotcha.
Adults, go for it. Children,
Yeah.
you got to protect them.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you guys think, me personally, I don't think this bill has a shot in hell at passing.
I don't think it does.
There'll
Hell
be
no.
so much pressure from
no.
every games company everywhere that will, I'm sure,
The money
do
will
something
make it
to-
all right, baby.
yeah, do something to, either grease the palms or, do something legally that will just make this not pass. But do you guys feel that, would you want something like this passed? Or would you rather just leave it up to like the free market and parenting and whatever else to?
I never like more laws being passed. I wish that we could just like get to a moral consensus where like it's like, let's get back to providing for and being true to the consumer, rather than this industry's gotten so big that they're continuously not going down that route. I wish we could go back to that, where it's just like moral consensus, this is bad, let's get it out of here. But unlikely. That's why Senator Hawley's doing this.
Yeah, I don't want this act to pass. It's probably going to be, not what we or he envisioned it to be. When and if it ever did come to pass, and we'd probably be left with some kind of weird pseudo workaround from the gaming industry that to keep with these practices. It'd just be a total mess.
Yeah,
I would rather.
might just get worse.
Yep, more
Right.
devious.
I want to see, like Ben was saying, like, you know, the gamers, the people, you know, that are actually partaking in this kind of thing, you know, kind of keep speaking out like they have been. So this isn't a practice we want to keep seeing in games.
Yeah, and like for me too, like okay, we're worried about like taking advantage of children and shit for loot boxes and pay to win, but like for me, there's like bigger issues of companies being devious and fucking you over, like cable companies or phone providers. Like let's fuck that shit up first before we worry about this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, there is
there's
a
like
lot of
bigger
injustices.
fish to fry where people where they like legally can fuck you because it's like a monopoly. Like
Right,
I'd
yep.
rather see that being taken care of than
Huge
something like this.
injustices. Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
That's
For me, I mean, I don't really care if it passes. I'd actually maybe just rather see it not pass. But for me, I don't mind spending money on a game. I just don't want the random chance involved. I like a League of Legends model where if I want to buy one of their cool skins that they make, just let me buy it with real money and be done with it. And the transaction's
no,
done. And then at
yeah.
the end of the day, like I'm the moron that just spent money on a digital skin. You know, it's not like a loot box or a gambling addiction. I'm just an idiot. You know, I'd rather just have it that way.
Yeah, and you get what you want.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no chance.
That's the point where it's like, okay, it's acceptable for me. Like I don't want to see that, but it's like, okay, if we're gonna have to meet in the middle here, then that's where I would be at. Like more transparency, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's where last thing I wanted to say about where a lot of people take exception to it with like EA Sports in particular with the Ultimate Teams. Like you can only buy the packs of cards. Like
Yep.
you could be playing NHL and say like, well, I want Crosby on my Ultimate Team and go buy Crosby for your team. You can't do that.
Yeah, and they would expire too. You can only use them for so many games.
Oh,
that
was
Ultimate
bad.
Team stuff was bad. I don't want to get into that. It was awful.
Oh,
Yeah.